Okay, wait a minute. Okay, done. Section 13. Okay, this is section 8. Berlebih pula ni. Okay, then this is section 7. Right. Okay, previously we stopped dekat mana? Leadership semua dah Ke belum?
Leadership belum sampai motivating.
Motivating, have you finished everything? Oh, contemporary belum? Isn't it?
Betul.
Okay, contemporary and then okay, have I give the assignment for contemporary theories?
Dah,
Which group?
doktor dah bagi-bagikan group kali tu.
Kan? Okay. Alright, so today we proceed with the presentation. Okay. So group 1, 2 or 3? Kita tak ingat.
Untuk goal setting teori tu group 3 dengan 4 doktor.
Okay, thank you. Ni saya tengah scroll. Okay, group 1 and 2 kita back pada yang sebelum tu, apa dia? Ada kita tak cover satu topik, isn't it? Okay, ni McGregor, yang ni dah. Okay, 3 needs theory, betul? Yang McClellan tu. McClellan group 1 and 2. If not me second lah. Okay, group 1 and 2, McClellan. Where is group 1 and 2? Or you didn't prepare?
Prepare Doktor.
Okay, then why you just keep quiet?
Sorry Doktor. Tengah cari slide.
Okay.
Nampak slide tak Doktor?
Okay, nampak.
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Azamuddin.
Ya.
Yang present siapa? Azamuddin, okay.
Abdul Azamuddin.
Okay, proceed.
Okay, this is McClellan theory. My team member is Faiz Izwan Rosli, Ahmad Badrul Amin, me, myself, Muhammad Azamuddin, Ahmad Zakwan Muhammad Fadilah dan Muhammad Zikri Khalid. So, for the background of the McClellan theory is one of such theory that breakdowns what needs and how they must be treated to understand this process of motivation. David McClellan theory was an American first physiologist who established the achievement theory of motivation, which center on three key elements: achievement, power, and affiliation. So on the right corner, this is a David McClellan from 1917 until 1998. So after that, I pass to next presenter, please.
So, hello, my name is Ahmad Badram Ibuzraini. So, I will present about power. So, power the specification is want to control and influence others, likes to win arguments, enjoy competition and winning, and enjoy status and recognition. So, the second one is affiliation, which is wants to belong to the group, wants to be liked, and will often go along with whatever the rest of the groups wants to do, favors collaboration over competition, doesn't like high risk or uncertainty. So how about achievement? So about achievement is has a strong need to set and accomplish challenging goals, takes calculated risk to accomplish their goals, likes to receive regular feedback on their progress and achievement, and last one is the often likes to work alone. So about the background, so sorry, supposedly I present about background first, but the last one about background, which is McClellan theory of needs is one such theory that breaks down what needs are and how they must be treated to understand this process of motivation. So David McClellan was an American physiologist who established the achievement theory of motivation, which centers on three key elements, which is achievement, power, and affiliation. So basically, main focus dia adalah dekat achievement, power dan affiliation. Okay, that's all.
Example.
Example.
Actually, background your friend is already explained just now. Okay, example of power, affiliation or achievement and using a layman word for all of your colleagues understand and easy to remember.
Kejap doktor.
Because as I mentioned, this subject is not only memorize the theory, but you have to relate whatever you read, and you have to relate with the case study, with the thing that you understand, to relate with this. So what is the situation? And what type of people that, okay, you can see that is power, that is affiliation, that is achievement.
Okay, I think for the achievement, to relate in our subject, that in industry we have goals, strong goals. We have need to achieve, and one of the sorry doctor. So for the leader have a strong need that need to lead their colleague, need to lead their workers to have a to have a succeed to accomplish this challenge goal, and they have to take a risk, big risk, untuk keluar daripada problem and have a successful result. So how about others? You have
Doctor, may I try?
Okay, please.
On the power, we compare to our internship. Example for me, I internship on Honda Malaysia. So if we talk about the power, it's all about the leadership itself. So for a leader in the team, in the line leader, actually, they need to allocate all the associate in doing the work itself, and having a power, that means that they respect to each other, and after they having the respect to each other, then they can do the work without any hiccup. Yeah, because why? In one day they need to achieve a certain target. If there's a hiccup between the work and then the target of in each unit of car cannot be achieved lah. That's for the example for the power.
Now we are talking about motivation. How power, affiliation, and achievement lead to the motivation. This is all about the theory of motivation.
Doctor, may I try?
Okay, please.
Doctor, from my point, I think the power is like describe the people who like to work in teams. So when he work in teams and the members, so he has been motivated. So it's belong to the person like the power person. For the achievement person, it more like something more challenging, but it's the thing is possible, but it's not possible. So it like something challenging, but it can work alone. It need a feedback from public to know what actually happening. This is for my point. So it have been have been motivated by different situation.
Okay, sikit lagi. Okay. So yang group 2, what about group 2?
Nak kena present kat ni?
Tak, you just top up. Just top up whatever your friends did. Because group 1 and 2 did the same topic kan?
Betul.
So you just top up what is lacking in the first presentation.
Isi kita orang lebih kurang je tu kontennya.
Content, basic content sama, but how, okay, dia macam ni. In this subject, okay, you have to know the final year subject, we don't expect student to memorize everything in the book. But the key point of the theory, you have to relate and how you want to explain. And you have to relate with the example. Because in theory, okay, because this is open book, okay, your test 1, test 2, final exam will be open book. So if open book, you already can get all the points. But what I'm trying to train you is, you have to use your brain to think, okay, now we have theory of motivation. So we have achievement, power, and affiliation. How these three can motivate people?
Madam, can I try again?
Okay, please.
So for the achievement, the main point is has a strong need to accomplish a challenging goal. So saya explain in Malay, Madam. So dalam industri,
Kita ada international student ke?
I don't know.
Do we have international students here? International students who doesn't speak Malay. Ada tak? Okay, kalau tak ada boleh campur.
Okay. For the main part of the achievement
We
has oh yes.
We have, dia kata, tapi diam je.
Okay.
Okay.
Tak apalah, saya cuba campur lah. Has a strong need to set a accomplish challenging goal. So from my previous internship experience, in industry have their goals, which every month have set their goals. So they have a strategies to develop lah untuk bagi dekat workers, to the operator, and then they have to motivate them on how they treat, on how they teach them, and they have macam mengajar lah untuk diorang, macam berbaik lah. So daripada situ dia akan motivate lah untuk diorang supaya buat kerja dengan baik, dan kita boleh sama-sama untuk capai goals tu. So untuk power, want to control and influence other. So the power ni saya nampak macam dekat dalam management, in the office. So dekat sini like to win argument. Dalam sini dia ada macam ada challenges, macam kita dalam meeting, so kita nak suarakan pendapat kita. Daripada situ kita nak motivate diri kita untuk maju ke hadapan with for the affiliation, want to belong to the group. So in this affiliation, if we can see that if we want to belong to the group, we have to, kita kena campur lah dengan group tu. Macam group leader dengan engineer. So daripada situ kita akan motivate diri kita untuk jadi seorang yang untuk menjadi ke arah kepada engineer itu. So dalam industri itu sendiri banyak yang bercampur dengan orang-orang atasan supaya mereka untuk menaikkan diri mereka ke lebih ke hadapan lah. So itu saya nampak dekat internship saya yang lepas. Okey ke doktor?
Okay, sekejap. Dia macam ni, argument macam kurang matang sikit.
Madam, can I add?
Okay, please.
From my perspective, I would say about affiliation, we have a certain group. For example, we want to be a professional engineer. So we have the motivation to do a certain task before we can be the professional engineer. Like for example, we have the 3 years of experience and a few other things that we need to be in the group. So that's what I think about affiliation.
What about want to be liked? Will often go along with whatever the rest of the group wants to do.
I would say most of the what should I call it? Most of the like, and because when we try to achieve a certain level of the group, we want people to accept us and in that group. So for example, like I said before, professional engineer, we have certain attributes that makes them like us so that we can join the group. That's one of the thing I think.
Okay. Situation tak ni. Maknanya give one situation that you can relate. Okay, macam ni lah. Nanti kita test on 26 kan? Okay. Have you checked the test or exam questions?
Dah Doktor.
Dah, okay. What do you find from that?
Dia kasih situation atau apa-apa, kita orang kena menjawab berdasarkan situasi tu. Soalan.
Kan?
Betul.
Okay, itu yang saya risau. Because all this while, okay, this week is week apa? Week 5 ke week 6? Kita week apa sekarang?
Six.
Week 6.
Minggu ke-6.
Okay. We started with the presentation, discussion, okay. So week 6, by week 6, the students should be able to to be more brave, to be more thinking, to be more have idea how to argue, to give more opinions and arguments in the class. Sepatutnya lah. Okay. But for this semester, I found that our class is quite apa kita panggil? Quite passive compared with the previous semester. Okay. Because all these processes from week 1 until week 6, you should be able. I don't need to lead the class. And then in fact, I have to ask again. Okay, have you finished? You know. But until week 6, I didn't see the effort from the students. Okay, to really press your mind to think about, okay, this is the theory, and then how you want to relate with the situation. That's why we give you this one earlier. Tapi macam belum lagi, saya tak dapat lagi yang tu. Okay, alright. Okay, back to McClelland's theory. McClelland's theory, okay, now we have power, affiliation, and achievement. Okay, some people, when they have power, when they can influence people, when they give the opinion in the meeting and everyone support their points, okay, and then they have like, okay, when they have a meeting and then they say, okay, why not we ask Azamuddin give opinion. And then when Azamuddin open the mouth, then everyone salute him. So that power will bring more motivation to the person. Because when they feel, okay, everyone give full support, that is belong to the group, okay, or achievement, they have a position that they already achieve at a certain level, and then people will easily follow whatever they they give the opinions. So itu adalah power lah. They enjoy the status and recognition. Because if let's say they have a problem or they have for example a small project, and then they crack head to solve the problem, but then at the end, okay, still cannot solve. Then they ask Azamuddin, okay, Azamuddin, do you have opinion on this? And then Azamuddin, okay, structured, say, okay, you have to solve A, and then after you solve A, and then you will get B. And then they argue each other in the group, and then finally, okay, they can get the final solution, which from Azamuddin's idea lah, who mounted the idea. So that recognition or status has been recognized by the colleagues will make these people more motivate from time to time. Macam contoh you darjah 1, and then tiba-tiba you dapat nombor 1. Padahal you tak faham sangat pun waktu tu. Tapi bila cikgu kata, okay, you dapat nombor 1, lepas tu kawan-kawan semua happy dengan you, parents you happy, and then next time, of course, you try to do the better thing, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
Betul.
Sama jugalah, kita rasa macam, oh, everyone like us. Oh, I did a better job. So itu yang akan buat lebih motivate for in the future. Sama juga dengan affiliation. Wants to be liked. Kalau okay, in the company, you can relate with yang teori X dengan teori Y tu. We have a group. One group is positive group, the other group is negative group. Bukan negatif lah, dia macam have to pimpin tangan dan sebagainya. So yang always be like with your colleagues, dia akan lebih cepat maju. Compare dengan yang satu group ni, it takes time and then we have to tune dia punya cara pemikiran. So bila sama juga dalam kelas, okay, for example, kalau macam you pergi satu crowd and then everyone dia suka you ataupun dia welcome you, so you feel motivated to participate. Sebab dapat pujian, orang suka. Tapi kalau you just keep quiet in a group and then last you rasa macam bosan lah group ni, so you left out. So that is affiliation lah. Motivation to participate, motivation to give the best to the organisation. Okay. So memang ada worker kalau yang dekat company, yang mana yang top performer akan jadi top performer. Yang mana yang ada negative vibes, dia akan makin lama makin merudum sebab they are not belong to the group. They are not belong to the crowds.
Dia tak ada kabel.
Kita tak kata kabel lah. Kalau macam kabel tu macam, okay, contohnya you ada bapa saudara menteri kan, tu kabel lah. Okay. Dia yang ni rasa belonging to the groups. Contoh in our class, okay, every time when I ask a question, I can say 40% of the students who reply is always the same person. And in fact maybe 30% kot. Yang the rest, they just keep quiet at the back. Nama pun kadang saya tak perasan. That's why I would prefer, okay, whoever present and then you have to introduce your name and your team members lah, so that I know, okay, this one is from which group. Okay, that is affiliation. They feel belongings. For example, you are in UTM. If someone talk bad about UTM, what do you feel?
Marah.
Rasa belonging kan with
Rasa tak
UTM.
suka.
So sama juga dengan company. Okay, when you feel that you belong to the organization, you are trying to do the best thing to deliver to organization. So that is feel belonging, because the company also like you as a staff. Okay, okay. The achievement. Okay, achievement ni. Okay. Katalah for my record in 2013 saya terima anugerah pekerja cemerlang. Okay, so 2000 dia syarat dia after 3 years we cannot, even though our performance is 100%, but we cannot receive the award again lah, because we try to give other other opportunity to other staff. So 2013 I received the anugerah pekerja cemerlang, and then after 3 years it should be 2017, but 2017 2018 my daughter sick with cancer, so I was away with UTM for 2 years, and then 2019 I started to run back my to catch up what I have left, because for 2 years left out from UTM, okay, dealing with personal matters. And then 2020 I receive again the award, the pekerja cemerlang. So when the company recognize your achievement, of course you want to do the best of the best, okay, for the company. So that's why those right now, if let's say you still, your pointer is 2.4, 2.5, 2.6, okay, you have to put your fully effort to try to increase your academic achievement at least 3.2 before you graduate. Because after you graduate, after you get 3.2 minimum, because the first screening of the CV is your academic qualification. So after you receive the company punya interview, and then you have to compete with other strong academic background candidates. Okay, then once you achieve another level to be the worker of the company, for example MNC, multinational company, because the grade or the salary of the MNC is different from other manufacturing company. Okay, so MNC normally the big company ni dia punya salary minimum normally 3,200 lah for those 3.2 graduates. Okay, of course you want to start your career, if let's say right now you get 3,002, so within 5 years or within 6 years, if you can maintain your motivation to achieve at certain level, so you can be the senior engineer, okay, after 5 years, and then afterwards, of course, you will get more salary, and that maybe will give the motivation to you to work harder, to give the best to the company. Okay, so the process, it should be from now. You have to start to achieve something, to challenge, okay, at the end of, okay, maybe you have to imagine next 10 years, what you want to be. This one has a strong need to set and accomplish challenging goals. If you're clear your goals, if you're clear your need in the future, okay, so you started to plan and try to achieve the best of the best, and then you try to, try to train yourself, and then work hard to achieve it. So that is the achievement. Because those who have the higher achievement people ni, they are not thinking about 1 or 2 years. They are thinking ahead. What you want to be for next 10 years. So you have to plan starting from now. Kalau you final year, you masih lagi keep quiet, you don't train yourself to be a good speaker, to be a good presenter, and then you don't argue and dalam mulut you masih lagi ada emas. I can bet kalau you dekat industri, susah you nak be a good engineer. Yeah. So whatever you learn about this engineering management, you have to relate with yourself because you want to be the engineer in the future. Kalau motivation, it's not about you have to know the early theory, McClellan says this, says that. Because this theory you can use for yourself as well. And then of course in exam, for me exam is nothing if you really understand the theory. If you really understand the subject about motivation. And then improve yourself. Improve from time to time, okay? So this one, for example, takes calculated risk to accomplish their goals. Of course, any plan, okay, or any long-term goals, of course, they have risk. Okay, right now, maybe you are not really good in English communication. But if you don't train from now on, so bila lagi nak train? Bila lagi nak bercakap? Because the argument in industry, of course, in English. If you don't train to argue, okay, after your friends present and then you just keep quiet. You kat luar nak jadi engineer ni, you keep quiet. Memang kena bully lah. And then you will feel you left out. So left out ni dah tak ada dah affiliation. You didn't belong to the group. So once you left out, then your motivation become drop and drop and drop. So end up you feel, oh, I don't want to work in the company because it's stressful. Why stress? Because you are not belonging to the groups. You don't have the power. You don't have the. You cannot achieve. You cannot show your achievement in the among your colleagues and your boss. So finally, tak ada motivation lah. Bila tak ada motivation, then there is no achievement, there is no increment, no money. Okay, and then negative vibes will influence you. Sama juga ni, likes to receive regular feedback on their progress and achievement. For the motivated people, always try to receive the regular feedback from the colleagues, from the bosses. Because they always think how to improve themselves. Okay, often like to work alone, of course. High achiever never work alone. They have a strong team. Okay, so when you work in a team, berdua lebih baik. Macam mana? Berdua lebih baik. Apa yang apa dia?
Two heads are better than one.
So it's better than one kan? Okay. So itulah for motivated people, highly motivated people, okay, they always work in a group because they have a strong positive vibes in a group, so they will support alone. They will support together. Yes, never walk alone. Okay. All right. So that is McClellan. Okay, next.
Group 2 ke doktor?
Tak, group ni, goal setting.
Okay.
Tadi saya dah tolong tadi panjang lebar tadi. Okay, contemporary theories of motivation, goal setting theory. Group 3 or 4. Nanti Khamis Khamis apa? You all punya test 26 kan? Jumaat Okay, Khamis kita akan bincang
Ya,
test.
Jumaat.
Soalan test. Mana group 3 or 4?
Ada tak? Ya. Boleh nampak ada tak?
Belum.
Belum.
Okay. Panjangnya.
Panjang.
Eloknya buat 2 slide, maksimum 2 slide je. Okay. So, kita banyak teori ni.
Kejap je ni doktor. Okay. Assalamualaikum and good morning. My name is Muhammad Afnan Hamimi bin Jaafar from Group 4. For my group member is Faizani, Ashamuddin, Faiza Yunus and Zohimi. Okay, so today I would like to present about the goal setting theories. Okay, what is the goal setting theory? The goal setting theory is theory based on the idea that setting specific and measurable goal is more effective than setting unclear goals. This theory is developed by Edwin A. Locke.
Excuse me, slide tak bergerak.
Oh, slide tak bergerak. Aduh. Nampak?
Okay.
Okay.
Nampak.
In this theory, Edwin A. Locke said that goal setting theory is important that can motivate the employees to work more effectively as they have their goals have to be reached. Okay, there are 5 principles in this theory. The first principle is clarity. For this principle, is goal must be clear and specific. For this clarity, it is important that to ensure that the employee understand about the goal they need to reach. Okay, for the second is commitment. In this principle, employees needs to be give full commitment on the goal and understand what. Third is about the challenge. For the challenge principle, is to engage and focus for employee to perform their task. Because when the challenge when the goal does not give a full challenge to employee, they will be lazy and demotivated to reach the goal. And four is about the feedback. Feedback is principle about the regular feedback should be provided throughout the goal achieving process to ensure the task they stay on track to reach the goal. Lastly is 5 task complexity. For this task complexity, the one of the goal that we want to reach, we should broken down into smaller goals. So when smaller goal is reached, a review should be performed to update the employee on the overall progress toward to the larger goal. That's the goal that we want to reach to. We we broke into smaller, and we reached the goal by one and by one. This is the step for use the goal setting theory. Step one is identify the purpose of the goal, meaning that the goal that we want to reach needs to be understood by the employee, and a good one, and can give good to the company. Step two is meet the with employee. Meet with the employee meaning that always meet with the employee to make sure it's the goals that want to reach uh, always on the track. Step 3 is develop using the smart model. For the smart model ni, smart tu meaning that specific, measurable, achievable and realistic and time bound. Specific need to give a specific goal, meaning that for example lah, to increase the sale, to specific more, increase the sale by 12%, like that. For measurable, something like specific also, meaning that from the increase the sale is measurable by the 12% that I said before. For uh, achievable ni, the goals that has been set must within the range capability of the employee to make sure the goals can be reached. Realistic, the goals that have been made tu must be real, not too far lah. And time bound ni is a time frame to reach the goal. Step 4 is make sure the employee has they need to accomplish the goal, meaning that the acquired equipment that have been provided by the company to employee to reach the goal. 5 is provide regular feedback. Okay, this is advantage and disadvantage of goal setting theory. The advantage of goal setting theory is increase employee engagement within the workplace, provide a clear guideline as to how to set and achieve goal in an effective way, improve employee performance by increasing effort and overall motivation. For disadvantages, if there are difficult goals that management and the company are trying to accomplish, performance may fall due to incompatible action. Second is goals that are too far above an employee's scale and competency can have a negative effect on the employee performance and motivation to complete the goal. And the last one of disadvantage is more complex and difficult goals may lead to risky behavior in an attempt to accomplish the goal in a timely manner. That's all for me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Afnan. Okay, any question or any additional info that you want to add? Afnan, group 3.
Group 4.
Group 4. Okay, from group 3. You have the simple example that you can relate with the goal setting. Ni lebih kurang macam yang saya explain tadi lah. If you have your goal setting, your goal in life, then you will be more clear what you want to achieve. So in goal setting theory, they give the flow. Okay, in your slide, they give us a flow. Set the goal, okay, and then you have the goal are public, individual has internal locus of control, self-set goals, and then afterwards your motivation, and then you assess your feedback whether you are a good high performance plus the goal achievement. So from there you get the feedback. Okay, so is it same with KPI? Okay, similar. If you have, if you work in a company and then of course they give you the KPI, right? KPI is key performance indicator. So if you know, sini tengah makan coklat breakfast, so macam dia tercekik-cekik. If you know your KPI, and then you have to know, okay, how to achieve the KPI. And then, okay, at the end of the year, you will receive your your performance appraisal. Then if you are lacking in certain area, okay, for example, for lecturer, we don't do only teaching, we do the research, we do the publication, we do the supervising, we do the community service, okay. So consultation as well. So for example, I am not too active in community service. Because it takes time to go out and everything. So we have child at home. So we know that we are lacking on the community service. But in UTM for KPI, they say, okay, if you don't really can contribute in the community service, but you can spend your time to spend for the more publication, for the more research grants, for the more research students. So dia akan tampung yang mana kekurangan kita. So sama juga kalau macam okay, yang tu kita dah tahulah, maknanya okay, tak apa, kalau kita tak buat ni kita boleh cover kat sini. So sama bila you kerja nanti, dia dah set okay your KPI, but the KPI in industry is different from the service industry. Kalau macam universiti ni service industry lah. For KPI they said okay, for example in terms of cost, your operation should cut the cost, for example 5%. So you have to check okay which part that you can reduce the cost. And then in terms of delivery, you have to there is no complaint from the customer. So that's why you have to make sure all your staff or all your colleagues, okay, all the line that you supervise, there is no mistakes. Tu adalah purpose of goals of you lah. Okay. So and then afterwards you will get the feedback. So if let's say the customer give a bad feedback for you, then of course you have to improve for next time. Kalau dia tak terlalu teruk lah, kalau macam terlalu teruk mungkin you kena buang kerja dan sebagainya kan. Okay. So don't look on your failure, but you always keep for improving, because once you receive the feedback, then you have to reflect whether, okay, which part that you have to improve. So itulah dia kalau macam kerja lah. Tapi kalau macam lecturer ni ada juga macam kan you all ada bagi feedback for ELPPT lah, for end of course file dan sebagainya. So ada jugalah yang yang feedback not really good to the lecturers. Tapi tak apa, kami pendidik, tak apa, you all kurang matang lagi, nanti kami berharap that you can improve yourself, you know. Sebab ada juga yang condemn lecturer. So bila condemn tu macam, okay, tak apa. Alright, okay, that's all for setting a goal setting theory. Okay, thank you for Afnan tadi.
Yeah.
Afnan and your team members. Right, next, reinforcement theory.
Group 5, madam, nak present.
Group 5, oh yes, please. Nurin Akila. Nurin Akila SEMM eh?
SEMM.
Okay. Saya punya student PSM apa nama dia? Ada juga Akila.
Saya dengan madam time internship hari tu.
Oh, okay, that's why your name is very familiar.
Boleh nampak full screen slide?
Boleh.
Okay. Assalamualaikum and hi. My name is Nurin Akila from Group 5. Along with me is Aisyah Nabila, Faraliana, Hanisa and Hamiza in the group. So today I would like to talk about the reinforcement theory. Before I start, let me give you some ideas about this topic. So for example, we take the situation at home with our family. If we do great in examination, like you get Dean's List for the semester, your parents will praise you and buy you a treat. So, so that you will, but what happen if you misplace one of your mother's Tupperware? What will she do to you? So can you guess what will she do to you? Anyone?
Tak mengaku anak.
Lagi?
Tidur luar.
One more?
Halau.
Hello. Okay, maybe your mom will start nagging, right? So reinforcement theory is something like that lah. So we move on to the next slide. Okay, reinforcement theory is proposed by B.F. Skinner and his associates. He assumed that the workers' behavior was based to consequence in environment. It is based on law of effect. Example, individual behavior with positive consequence tends to be repeated, but individual behavior with negative consequences tends to not be repeated. Like my previous example, mama, like the Tupperware situation, your mom nag at you. So the next time, you will not repeat that. No, you will not repeat that action. Like you misplace it, so you will put the Tupperware in proper place. So your mom know where's the Tupperware is. So reinforcement theory is in other words, reinforcement theory is a psychological principle maintaining that behaviors are shaped by their consequences, and the individual behaviors can be changed through awards and punishments. So there are 4 types of reinforcement here, which positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, punishment, and extinction. So I will start with the first one, which is positive reinforcement. Positive reinforcement is the administration of positive consequences to increase the desired behavior. For example, if a supervisor praises an employee for doing a task, he or she increase the frequency of doing that task again. Like Dr. Nizam said before, with the previous slide about praise, and we get praise what we are doing, then we keep motivated. So the next one is negative reinforcement, also known as avoidance, through the removal, termination, reduction, or postponement, an unpleasant event will not occur. So for example, a teacher eliminates homework if his students work hard and accomplish their tasks in class. In turn, the student work harder and more productive, which for this as a positive outcome. So they won't have to do homework. So the next one is punishment. It is different from the negative reinforcement. It is a technique that involve negative consequences in order to decrease or discourage behavior. For example, it's like placing an employee who doesn't meet performance goal on actions, or writing up an employee who consistently arrive late to work. Illustrate that punishment imposes negative consequences to discourage bad behavior. And lastly, extinction, or in other words, disappearance. Negative behavior followed by removal. I should be removed that. So to reduce extinction reinforcement is to reduce or eliminate the incidents that of this sort of negative or issues behavior, that they have to stop it. For example, as upper management, we might stop approving the overtime pay during festival season to avoid employees from staying late or coming in the weekend. So, as for the summary reinforcement, so that you guys can understand it easily. Positive reinforcement is positive behavior followed by positive consequences, like manager praise the employee. For negative reinforcement, positive behavior followed by removal of negative consequences. For example, manager stop nagging the employee. Next one is punishment. Negative behavior followed by negative consequences, which manager demotes the employee. And lastly, extinction. Negative behavior followed by removal of positive consequences, where manager ignores the behavior. I think that's all from me. Do you have any question? Anyone?
I still don't understand on the extension.
Extinction. It's like you being ignored. It's like macam you buat salah, orang dah malas nak betulkan you punya salah tu. So they ignore you like that. Boleh?
But how it give the motivation?
Motivation. So bila kita macam manager dah ignore kita, so kita punya motivation akan down. So macam dia dah tak nampak dah aku. So kalau if we do good things, they still don't see anymore. Situ. Itu yang saya faham lah. For extinction. Betul ke doktor?
Betul. Okay. Ignoring undesired behavior is better than punishment, which may create additional dysfunctional behaviors.
Any question more?
No. Dia sometimes macam ni. Katalah you ada anak, okay? Sekali you tegur anak you buat juga, nakal juga. 2 kali tegur, okay, nakal juga. Dah lah apa parents buat?
Biarkan.
Rotan.
Pantat kau lah.
Itu under punishment.
Balas melayan.
Kalau
Biarkan
kalau
je.
zaman dulu memang akan punishment lah, betul. Tapi yang zaman yang ibu bapa moden sekarang ni, dia akan ignore je anak dia. Kalau tak pun dia akan guna psikologi, okay tak apa, buatlah. So at the end, yang anak tu takkan buat dah.
Betul.
Okay, so yang tu lah dia, yang tu extinction kot. Negative behavior followed by removal of positive consequences. Ignore je. So bila dia ignore, lalas macam kalau anak saya, dia akan, kalau macam saya tak nak cakap dengan dia, lalas dia yang datang. Dia kata Mimi talk to me. Kena palau perkataan sekarang palau. So bila palau at the end macam dia rasa dia left out. So bila left out, so lama-lama dia akan motivate diri dia balik .
Doktor, macam tu kalau budak kecil yang dia nak mainan, lepas tu mak bapak yang tak layan, nanti dia nangis kan. Lepas tu in the end dia datang balik kat mak bapak dia kan. Macam tu lah.
Ya.
Doktor,
Kenapa dah nak ada anak dah ke?
Tak adalah, saja tanya.
Tak, dia biasa kalau macam, tapi bila dia dah besar tak boleh buat macam tu. Contohnya macam you all kan. You all dah pernah melalui melalui proses waktu remaja. Semua nak bangkang je apa yang parents cakap. Tapi bila dah 18 and above, you have to be friend with your parents lah. Sebabnya kadang-kadang takkanlah parents nak marah macam marah anak-anak kecil, tak. Alhamdulillah anak soleh. So kalau macam yang anak yang kecil ni 1 hingga 5 tahun, 6 tahun ni, kalau kita ignore dia, memang dia akan datang kat kita. Sebab dia tak ada siapa pun. Tapi tak boleh lama-lama lah, jangan rasa dia macam, jangan sampai anak tu rasa left out. So kalau biasanya this is the parenting tips lah sikit. Walaupun saya not a good parents, okay. Kita pun belajar daripada anak. So kalau anak tu macam ni, dia terlalu dia kadang-kadang ada anak yang ego tau. Dia tak nak minta maaf kat parents walaupun kita dah ajar. Kita dah sound dia banyak kali tapi buat tak tahu, lepas tu kita ignore dia. Lepas tu dia datang tapi dia tak nak minta maaf. So bila dia dah relax apa semua, then kita beritahu dia, okay, kenapa tak nak cakap tadi, sebabnya dia buat kesalahan yang ni, dia buat kesalahan tu, dia buat kesalahan ni. We have to explain. So itu anak yang sekarang lah. So sekali, dua kali dia akan buat benda yang sama, tapi dia bila dia proses dia nak membesar tu, dia akan berubah lah. Okay. Alright, so next.
Thank you, Doktor.
You're welcome. Okay, thank you Nurin. It's a good presentation. Okay, suara pun jelas.
Thank you.
Okay, you kena improve in terms of apa? Mungkin kalau kat depan-depan tu mungkin kita boleh tengoklah cara you kot. Tapi kalau in terms of yang online ni, maknanya suara jelas, berani, you punya structure of the presentation pun different from other students. And thank you too for the group members jugalah. Alright, so designing motivating jobs. Group 7, 8, 14. One, two, three. Ni saya habis kira ni tak keluar juga ni. Group 7, 8, 14.
Group 8, Doktor.
Okay, please. Dia kalau dekat industri presentation tak ada nak prepare tau. On the spot je. Kat slide tu memang dah prepare lah dia punya, sebab dia akan present data.
Okay, Assalamualaikum. We are from the group 8. My name is Hakim Afifi. The group member is Hafizuddin, Ame, Amma and Zuhilmi Ilyas. So our title is Designing Motivating Jobs. Okay, firstly the definition, job design is a psychology theory of motivation that is defined as the systematic and purposely allocation of tasks to group and individual within an organization. The factor influencing the job design is to changing organizational environment or structure. Secondly, the organization technology and employee skills, ability and preference. For the job enlargement is to increase the job scope. Then for the job enrichment is to increase the responsibility and the autonomy or the depth in the job. Okay, for the job design, it is a theory that is based on the idea that a task in itself is the key to the employee motivation. A boring and monotonous job is disastrous to an employee motivation, whereas a challenging, versatile job has a positive effect on motivation. Okay, this is the 5 characteristic model. The first one is the skill variety. It is known as how many skills and talent there are needed. Secondly is the task identity, which is does the job produce a complete work? And the third, the task significance. It is how important is the job. For the autonomy, it is how much independence does the job holder have. And lastly, for the feedback, it is how the worker know how they are doing, which is their performance. Okay, and for the suggestion, using the job characteristic ni, it is to combine the task or known as job enlargement to create a more meaningful work. Then we create a natural work units to make employee works important and whole. Next, establish external and internal client relationship to provide the feedback. Other than that, is expand job vertically or called as job enrichment by giving employee more autonomy. And lastly, open feedback channels to let employee know how well they are doing. This one is the elaboration of this one. Okay, that's all from us.
Okay, any question? Example?
Example, like giving the workers the opportunity to do a new work that they have not tried. This will create a new experience to them and they are more excited to do the work.
Okay. Any additional info from other groups? Additional info tak ada? Atau from other colleagues? That you have the idea how to explain or relate with the job job characteristic JCM, job design. Tak ada. Okey, buka balik yang you punya tadi. You punya slide. Show about job enlargement and job enrichment.
Okay, Doktor. This one, Doktor.
Yep. Okay, dia macam ni. Kalau kerja tu, okay, you buat routine work. Macam operator contohnya. You come to the work and then you do the daily works for 20 years. What do you feel?
Feel boring.
Bosan.
Lemau. So you imagine how the operator can sustain their punya motivation to keep doing the same thing. So sama juga yang dulu yang saya kata, if let's say after 3 years and then you feel boring, you feel demotivated when you go to work, then it's time for you to change your job. Kalau tak change your job pun, you have to achieve a certain level. Yes, explore new things. You have to achieve to a new certain level to do either job enlargement or job enrichment. Tapi kalau macam dekat company, they want to give you they want to increase your job scope, okay, or other task mungkin yang lebih besar, scope yang lebih besar. So they will rely on you yourself. Dia akan tengok skill, dia akan tengok your ability lah to finish the work, and then they will tengok dia punya dia monitor you kan. So whether you have to do the job enlargement or you do the job enrichment. So this is normally manager lah. Manager will determine okay your scope of work until when. Saya pernah cerita kan yang okay contoh macam lecturer semua gaji sama je. Okay. Tapi kenapa ada lecturer ni dia punya workload dia banyak. Ada lecturer ni workload dia sikit, dia boleh lepak-lepak dengan student, dia boleh makan-makan, lepak-lepak semua. Ada yang boleh balik awal. Why?
Orang tu tahu kita boleh buat.
Bila orang tahu kita boleh buat, dia akan bagi kerja yang lebih banyak. Dan we have to take it as positively, okay? When people give you more work, then you have to do the best. You keep motivating yourself to complete the work. So contoh macam yang tu job enlargement, maknanya scope you akan jadi lebih besar. Kalau job enrichment, okay, your responsibility will be increased. Okay, mungkin dulu kalau macam a decision, you cannot make a decision, but now they give you with the same scope, but they give you the authority, okay, the autonomy to make a decision. So that is job enrichment. Ataupun mungkin sebelum ni you hanya tolong-tolong, bantu. At the end, okay, you dapat position tu sebagai you yang jadi ketua. Then that is also job enrichment. Responsibility akan bertambah. Okay, so that is job design lah. How we want to increase motivation to our worker. Okay, next. Banyak
next is,
dalam
equity, is it equity, Doctor?
Equity, yes.
Okay, I'm going to present for the equity from group 15.
Group 15, okay. Fahim ni saya dah kenal waktu IE dulu kan?
Yes.
Duduk paling depan sekali. I still remember you. Pakai
Okay, can you see the whole screen?
Yes.
Alright. For the equity theory, this is from group 15. Our leader is Hasib, and all other members is Limdita, James, and Aslan. So in this presentation, there's actually sort of like 6 slides of it. I will explain about what is equity, comparison, the type of justice, and also equity in workplace, advantage and its disadvantage. So what is actually equity? In descriptive type of understanding, can be said as what an employee perceives of what they get from a job situation, which is the outcome, in relation to what they put in, or sort of like their inputs. And then they compare it with the input outcome ratio with the input outcome ratio of relevant others. So in simple words, usually an employee will compare their situation, sort of like what they do for work, and then the outcome that they get, and they compare it with sort of like a colleague, which is supposed to be sort of like a same place as he is, and same job as he is. Usually they compare it like sort of like that, and usually you can see that it's always they call it as how does he get something better than me? Is it while I do more job than he? That sort of things happen. So in the most shortest understanding, you can say is it being fair or not? Is it being fair or not in the workplace? So usually there is when you this thing is called, they call it as ratio, input output ratio. So if it's equal, then equity exists. It's what is called as equity. If it's unequal, inequity exists. And inequity, interestingly, can be either under reward atau or over reward. So usually when inequity does exist, actually employee tend to do something to try balance it. So these are the types of equity, basically just comparison. So this A and B is two different people, but in the sort of like A uses B as his reference. So the outcome over input A will compare to outcome over input B. If A is less than B, then basically A is under rewarded. Whereas if it's equal, you can see there's equity. If A is more than B, then this is also inequity and can be called as over rewarded. Those are the types of equity. So this one I try to learn more about it, but this is just what I understand about it. Distributive justice is more towards perceived fairness of the amount and allocation of rewards among individuals. So distributive justice can be seen as a fair share, and it actually can influence the employee's satisfaction. Procedural justice is more towards the fairness of the process used to determine the distribution of rewards. For this one, what I do understand is that there is fairness in the process. Sort of like when you want to do something, there is a process. There's a process of by process usually. Procedural justice is that each process you are able to understand what is it. You are able to understand what is going on, and then to the point where you can still feel that it is fair, that even though the outcome is not the outcome that you want, for example, that is procedural justice. And if I'm not mistaken, is practiced in court, if I'm not mistaken, because they will look at the usually they look at the rules one by one to see which part actually the plaintiff or defendant did something wrong. So procedural justice can be seen as actually fair treatment, whereas distributive is fair share. And interestingly, it actually affects the employee's organizational commitment rather than satisfaction.
Jap. Fahim.
Yes.
Back jap. Okay. Back. Slide sebelum. Tak depan ni. Depan. Bukan ni yang tadi. Justice.
Me and justice. Type of justice.
Buka slide tu. Nak tambah sikit.
Oh, jap. Okay. Ni. No. This one.
Okay. Okay, procedural justice yang saya what I understand is that okay, for example in a company there are two worker, female and male. both have same position, same workload, but the boss treat the female worker more nicely, like buat kerja dia, oh bagusnya awak ni. Tapi bila when the male worker do the exact work, but they didn't get like encouragement from the boss just because he is a male. So there is a discrimination there. So procedural justice, it mean that we cannot look at workers other than their workload, their outcome from their work. So we must be fair in treating workers, not because of their gender, their race, like that. That's what I understand from procedural justice. That's all I want to add. Okay.
Okay,
Fine.
that is interesting say about the procedural justice. But what you can see, even though the outcome is different, you can see that actually the man understands that the boss will treat him differently compared to his female colleague is because he is a man. He understands that he is a man, so not exactly can be said as in discouraging mode. It can be said that the boss didn't even complain about the man, but when in terms of the female, they treat, it's just that the treatment is different. So that is something about procedural justice that is very interesting about it. Procedural justice is more towards of course it is the clarity of which usually the employee understands the sort of like either what they do or the situation or whether they are what race they are or what whether they are male or female. They understand in details in such a way that even though the outcome is like, for example, the boss didn't treat you fairly, the boss didn't treat you fairly, what I can see from that is the boss treat you professionally. It treats the female in a better way, because if the boss treat her like you, it could be that the female can be offended, for example. Whereas when treat you, when he treats the male worker can be sort of okay, I understand. Usually, interestingly, it's not fair of the outcome, but sometimes it can be fair on the outcome, but sometimes it cannot be fair with the outcome. But that is the thing about procedural justice. So I will continue. Shall I continue with the next one? See.
Okay, continue.
All right. So here's an example of equity actually on the workplace. To tell you the truth, I don't quite understand the justice in detail, but I do understand equity. So an example of equity is that, for example, is making a job description as accessible. For what usually this is for newcomers. So if you want to hire someone, you make the job, what is the description of job, and then what is the wage range. And with that, the any new workers who go for this job, we tend to understand, oh, okay, so this is a job, and then this is what outcome I can get lah. So, and for the next one is skill-based hiring. This one is more towards just specializing. You specializing on something and then you are hired, that sort of things. And provide equitable access to all employees. This one is rather interesting for me because equitable access meaning that if there is a critical resources for that the employee needed to access in order to complete his critical job, uh, the availability of access is can be said as equitable for them. So this is the advantage, of course. Encourage achievement. It will always motivate the employees to achieve more. And then the next one is the employee tends to stay with the organization or the company because they have been treated fairly. So why do I want to go to another company, for example? And then it can also actually protects the company, usually it's more towards company, of any discrimination lawsuits, since the government always actually supports and actually make the law of trying to be fair in the company. So it will save the company from this kind of lawsuits. So this is the disadvantage for the company. Basically, this is for the employer. It's costly, can be costly accommodations, and there is also different people will always think different. So there will always be different in perception of one another in the company among the employees. Whether they can see whether is this fair or this is not fair, that sort of things. So that is the end of our presentation.
Alright. Okay, thank you Fahim. Okay, tadi siapa? Hasib. Hasib kan nama? Hasib kan?
Ya, doktor,
Okay.
saya.
Okay, Hasib talking about pekerja
Discrimination.
lelaki, discrimination between pekerja lelaki dan pekerja perempuan. Okay, that is actually under equity lah. Okay. Okay. Sebenarnya in real life, okay, there are companies give, it's not about the workload but it also about the salary. Gaji pekerja wanita dengan gaji pekerja lelaki dengan entrance yang sama, qualification yang sama, position yang sama, has different level of salary. Kalau you baca newspaper, not only in Malaysia but also in the overseas, they have the discrimination. So what they do, okay, yang sebab tu yang ada feminism ni. So bila ada, and then kalau macam dekat overseas, kalau macam ada report ke apa, then we have to sue the company lah because they don't treat the company, the worker equally. Sebab they are talking about equality kan. Kalau macam kat Malaysia ni mostly sebab salary in private company is confidential. So kita tak tahu. So it's not only male and female worker, but it also between races. Bumiputra, Chinese and Indian.
Black, white.
Black and white kalau dekat overseas.
Black Asia.
Kalau dekat overseas, black and white. Okay. So when the company treat the people unequally, so that will bring down the motivation of the worker. Okay, yang ni yang real life bukannya saya nak ni, tapi in real life memang ada company dekat luar, especially company company yang Chinese company. Okay, so Chinese company yang biasanya kalau macam yang sebab yang Melayu ni biasanya dia tak reti nak promote diri. Not aggressive. Not too passive. So bila passive, then yang company yang mungkin yang Chinese yang tua-tua ni, dia memang dia punya strong pada races tu mungkin strong lagi lah kan. Ya sekarang ni dah mild, sekarang ni dah mix. Okay. So sebab tu saya marah kalau macam student yang Melayu ni, even though you are very good in doing job, but if you are fail to promote yourself, okay, if you are very passive, you will be nowhere. Because Chinese, tak kisahlah Chinese student ke, Chinese worker ke, Chinese lecturer ke, Chinese siapa-siapa lah. In terms of confidence level, it's very good. Kadang-kadang kalau you dengar English diorang tak berapa bagus pun sebenarnya, but they are very confident to talk.
Betul.
Tapi kenapa you all macam takut sangat nak cakap?
Malu.
Buang malu tu. Dari sekarang ni buang malu tu. Then you can compete, okay? You can compete healthily with your colleagues. Contoh dalam kelas, Lim Lita. I respect you, Lim Lita. Okay? So memang mostly every semester I got Chinese student yang memang sebenarnya dia tak tahu pun tapi dia cuba juga, dia confident juga. Saya tak tahulah mungkin daripada sekolah you all brought up macam tu kan. So dekat luar, kalau you bring your very passive, takut nak bercakap, lepas tu memang ada company yang akan tengok, okay, kalau yang Melayu dia dah ada set mindset, Melayu ni memang jenis yang passive. So of course bila masuk je, they will give you the salary is different from Chinese graduates. So yang ni benda ni masalah dah lama tau.
Betul.
Tapi ada yang good company, okay, because my husband's bosses among Chinese. So bila dia tengok my husband at that time, okay, dia memang jenis yang kalau macam kata kasarnya kiasu lah. Okay, memang very outspoken, memang berani bercakap, improve himself. So yang Chinese boss ni, dia yang guide to be a good engineer. And then after 3 years, he left out and then pergi dekat company lain dan sebagainya. So memang dia dah train. Dia dah well trained by this Chinese boss. Tapi kalau you bercakap bila macam katalah you graduate, you mix with other engineer yang biasa-biasa, mesti dia kata, bos Cina ni memang dia nak cari engineer je. No, it is not about that. Memang ada, kita memang ada yang tu, tapi dia sebabnya graduate yang dulu memang passive, so dia dah ada mindset. So if you want to change the organisation or you want to change your bosses punya mind, you have to change yourself first. Sebab kalau you dah well trained right now, and then bila keluar, you can compete healthily. Tak perlu risau pun. Tak perlu risau ada nama C ke, ada nama T ke, okay, Indian ke, apa ke. Tak perlu risau. Okay, tu my opinion lah. Sebabnya macam I have many friends outside. Memang ada 2 group. Satu group yang memang akan kata on the races apa semua. Tapi bila kita tak nafikan memang benda tu berlaku. Okay. But kalau you tak berubah, kalau macam kalau you tak berubah, you takkan ke mana lah. Itu je. You have to improve yourself. Baru you boleh compete healthily. Okay. Alright. Yang feminism, yang lelaki perempuan tu memang obvious lah. Ada juga. Memang ada yang berlaku. Kalau tengok dekat newspaper, Dulu ada kawan saya graduate, we graduated in 2000, okay. And then my friend tudung labuh agak susah untuk dapat kerja. So company biasanya prefer yang tudung-tudung pendek ni. So dia kata lagi mudah. Tapi bila tu yang my friend yang tudung labuh tu, dia at the end dia tak pergilah pada industri. Dia tak kerja dekat industri. So dia kata pergi interview sebab English dia memang very good. Dia punya communication skill very good. Dia punya pointer pun better than me in fact. Tapi because of the unequality tadi, bila nampak orang tudung labuh, dia dah ada mindset, okay, orang tudung labuh ni tak boleh nak bincang apa semua, tak boleh strict apa semua kan. So tu yang dia susah. Tapi but that was in 2000 lah. Right now, I think the situation is become better lah. Okay. Alright. Okay, next. Last one. Expectancy theory. Sebelum kita habis kelas.
Can I present group 12?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Can you all see it?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So we are from group 12. So my name is Siti Zulaika and my group members are Ahmad Shazwan, Lukman Hakim, Amir Wafi and Azizul Rahman. So our topic is expectancy theory from Vroom. So motivation, basically what Vroom said is if you give some goals or some reward to that person will fight for that reward, her or himself. So we don't need the manager to push him or her like do this work. If you give reward, the person itself will run to the reward. That's what the Vroom said about this expectancy theory. So this theory, the key to the theory are basically three keys. First is effort, performance, and rewards. So for example, my own experience, I worked in NGO before. So every week, the people management, in order to encourage us to complete our KPI, they do a reward program every month. So that in terms of group, so there's like there's a competition between all the department. So so they give us reward. It's just a simple reward, just like they give vouchers to go eat at T-Life or something like that. Just a small reward, but that reward is satisfying for a college student like us. So that kind of reward. So all of our team members will put our best effort in order to complete our KPI, and then that effort will actually influence all of other members. Also, all other members from all other departments, they will work very hard to achieve all their KPIs, and that will show in our performance, in our work performance, and that is all because of the reward. And yeah, this is the advantage of the reward, advantage of expectancy theory. They were creating a friendly competition. Yeah, I think that's it for my presentation.
Okay, thank you, Zulaika. Okay, any question? Any question for expectancy model or expectancy theory?
Doktor nak tanya.
Uh-huh.
Kalau macam yang bonus kan, tu kira macam ekspektasi ni lah.
Yalah, kita dah boleh, dia boleh expect.
Macam ujung tahun punya bonus kan.
Ya.
Okay.
Okay, kalau dekat US company, okay, US company dia performance based on the quarter basis. So dia ada AWS, dia panggil lah dia punya tu. So kalau macam US company, first quarter dia tengok performance, and then dia akan bagi siapa yang ada share, okay, yang top performer, they will give share of the company lah. So contohnya macam VS Industry kan, they have their share, yang dekat bursa saham dan sebagainya. So if you are a top performer, they will give some lot to you. So nanti bila katalah macam you achieve you receive the share, and then kalau macam yang you resign ke apa, you boleh jual balik you punya share. Okay. Itu yang on the share. Besides that, dia ada bonus tahunan, dia ada bonus quarter. So bonus tu macam tak banyak lah macam yang hujung tahun punya. So if you know the company practice that kind of bonus, then you have to perform lah. You have to target, okay, what is your expectation? So you will get the reward. So that one will give you more motivation. Okay. Alright, apa lagi yang you nak tanya? So our subject of discussion is not only about the theory, but I would prefer share the experience outside lah. Saya ada PSM student Chinese. Saya cakap dengan dia, saya ada PSM student Chinese, saya Indian. Dia kata kalau ada maknanya kalau ada Indian ataupun China, kalau ada Melayu dekat situ, kalau you ada friend yang Chinese, okay, talk English. Tapi biasanya kalau macam yang saya punya student so far, dia tak adalah cakap tak adalah cakap Cina sesama dia kan. That dia respect. Kalau yang Indian pun, kalau macam Indian dengan Indian, so ada seorang Chinese, it's better for you to speak English. Satu, I'm very encouraged, okay, for all Malay students, for all Chinese students and for all Indian students to practice your English. Walaupun kita kena mencintai bahasa Melayu, tapi in terms of professionalism, English will bring you as one unity.
Betul.
Tapi kalau kita tengok group apa semua, kalau yang Melayu je, you all tak kawan dengan Chinese. Kalau yang Chinese je, tak berapa kawan dengan Melayu. So itu yang bila keluar you kena campur semua. Buat projek apa semua memang kena ada Chinese, Indian, Malay. So kalau daripada awal lagi you dah macam ni, tak tahulah kat luar macam mana.
Doctor?
Yeah?
In your slide, the expectancy theory,
Mm-hmm.
you have the word we room. Why is that?
Which one?
The slide 28.
28. Am I slide 28 on the equity theory?
Or the expectancy theory. Okay.
I think Vroom is the name of the person who invented the expectancy theory.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
I didn't find it. Lita, isn't it?
No, Herman.
It was Mr. Herman.
Herman.
Teacher.
Okay, Herman. Herman means Chinese, right?
Yeah, Chinese, but Muslim in law.
Okay, I have a blood. I have Chinese blood. I mix Chinese and Malay. But I cannot speak Chinese.
You can learn.
You're not alone, doctor.
I'm not alone.
So, Doctor, do you celebrate Chinese New Year?
No, because my nenek, she is the first child of family, but she is a girl at that time. So the family, the Chinese family at that time, they don't like the first first child is a girl. So that's why they give my nenek to other Chinese mu'alaf, who converted Muslim, Chinese family who converted in Muslim. So they give my nenek to this family lah. So this family brought my nenek, and then afterwards my nenek get married with Malay. So yang Chinese converted to Muslim tu dia tak ajar Chinese language to my nenek and cucu semua. So my mum also cannot speak Chinese. Tapi when you see the skin of my mum, memang 100% Chinese. That's why I have fair skin. I got from my nenek. Okay, saya tak jumpa yang word tu, tapi yang tu name
Vroom tu yang event expectancy theory.
Saya tak jumpa. Okay. Alright, so with that we end our kita sampai pukul apa?
12.
12 kan? Okay, we end our session today. So this coming Thursday we will discuss on the test one. Okay?
Okay, Doktor.
Alright. Okay, so with that be prepared for your test. And the topic is about strategic management and human resource. So for human resource, because that time I only touch on the process of human resource kan. So you have to relate with the enactment, the rules of the human resource as well. So read through first, then we will see. We will try to find the past question and then do practice in class. Okay. Alright, so that's all. So bye. Assalamualaikum.
Doctor, can I have attendance here?
Attendance section.
Section 8.
Thank you, Doctor.
Okay, welcome. Bye.
Thank you, Doctor.
Welcome.
Thank you, Doctor.
Yeah, welcome.
Thank you, Doctor.
Welcome, everyone. Okay, this is section 8.
Thank you, Doctor.
Okay, dah Dah scan? Okay, kalau scan saya off yang tapi ini macam tak masuk je nama you. Alright. So I end the session.